not war funds, for destroying empty vehicles?
I totally read it wrong. I thought he meant enemy vehicles, which is kind of like...
But he says empty vehicles.
Yeah, empty vehicles. It has something to do with the way the mechanics works on this whole unlocking system. I think I'm not totally into this particular problem, but I think there is some technical issue on that one. But obviously, it should give you XP to just destroy a vehicle with or without its owner in it. It's just a vehicle. So
it should.
We should look into that. That it's why it's not done that way.
Because I think this question keeps popping up in the different forums because people keep asking, as a tanker, I blow up the enemy tank, but the enemy tanker escapes.
Yeah, and
what happens then?
But I think that got fixed. I don't know if it's not. It might have hit. But it's something that we've looked into before, and I think some part of the problem was fixed. But I'm not sure.
But you get experience for damaging the enemy tank. That's for sure. So I guess maybe if you got.
Oh, but a lot of tankers actually jump out of the tank as soon as it starts burning. You jump out, and then you, at some point, I know that you wouldn't get the XP for the actual the destroying of the tank, because as soon as he leaves the tank, he's not the owner of the tank anymore. So, but we should look into that, see if it's still an issue.
So next one is a question from the Geth, the artificial intelligence from Mass Effect.
That's one of the questions
I
really don't have an answer for. It's a cool question, but I don't know.
So he's saying, will the Model 43 grenade ever be added, which could be used as a booby trap?
Tripwire stuff.
So
cool grenade, or a nasty grenade, I would say. Not cool.
Is that Model 43? Is that a German one?
The Germans made several different grenades.
Okay, I don't know that one. I know the Claymore. The Claymore is from later.
It's just it had a mechanism so you could actually attach a wire to it and use it as a tripwire, as a booby trap. I think that would require a great deal of code to actually do that. I'm not really sure it would benefit the game that much, because it would sort of like be a combination of a hand grenade and a
mine.
And a mine, yeah. So,
but still, because I mean, if you're dropping a mine somewhere, it has
basically the same
the same thing, except it would be like a.
But you would have the choice of do you want to use this thing for a mine or for a grenade? So I can see I can obviously see the idea, but I'm just not sure that the effect is big enough for us to right now spend time on it.
I'm just seeing here that the previous question from King Fu Giuliani was asking really about cars and APCs, but I'm pretty sure that I thought you got experience for damaging them, but probably not.
Not the kill.
Maybe that's like we had.
You should. So
we'll mention it to Tobias, I guess. Then the next question would be from Marv 2.0. Are there any plans for town maps without rivers?
Are they getting bored with the rivers? Well, the reason why we use the rivers so much is that it's an excellent way of making obstacles or channeling in a map. So they're quite useful from a game design perspective. So yeah, we could easily make a map without a river. It's not that it's needed. We don't have any up and coming maps without rivers. As far as I remember, all the half finished maps we have rivers in them. Even the city ones have rivers in them. So if you really want them without the rivers, we'll look into making a riverless map.
Next question would be from Raoul. Will there be a boot camp for new players where veteran players can teach recruits?
What would they teach them, do you think?
Obedience.
Polishing their boots?
Polishing their boots.
I guess that would be really hard to do. If you're a new player, would you like to just getting into a boot camp and wouldn't you just want to go straight to the action.
Yeah.
Will you ever go into a boot camp before you start playing the game?
Yeah, it depends how. Yeah.
And if you have to, wouldn't you just go, "Oh, this sucks"?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's obviously a good idea, but
it has to be implemented in a way that it's not gonna.
I would think a lot of players would just go, "Nah, I can't be bothered with this stuff." Same as the good old tutorials we have to crouch and F for forward or whatever, like W for forward and you aim, all that stuff that everybody's played. Nobody wants to do those jump on the box and those kind of tutorials. It might feel a bit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basic training.
I would skip it. But next question would be from Golden Eagle Leader. Will there be ribbons to unlock certain types of planes, just like the tank unlock system?
Oh yeah, obviously yes. So yeah.
All that's missing is the planes.
Yeah, but we come back to that with the whole plane update. We like to do the planes in one big
package, basically.
Yeah,
in one big
we
update.
You have a lot of ideas for how to make the planes better, and we'd just like to get the design a little bit more in place before we set our minds into upgrading with a huge plane upgrade. So, but it's obviously it would make sense to have more ribbons to unlock different planes. I can hear everybody screaming, "We want the Stuka!"
the diving
the dive bomber
sound. Yeah. But they designed them so that they made that sound, didn't they? I think it's a siren thing that.
We actually had the Stuka in many years ago, and it got removed because it was such a. We wanted two planes that were more the same, two fighter planes, so we took out the Stuka because it's very different from the other. It's not really a good fighter. So,
do you think you'd put it back, or
at some point, yes. Obviously,
okay.
it's one of those classic signature planes from the Second World War. So you couldn't have it without couldn't have the game without the Stuka, obviously.
Oh, apparently, concerning the boot camp, Jesper is telling me that America's Army had a boot camp feature.
Yeah, that's right. That was horrible.
Well, that's to quote him, it was horrible.
Yeah, no.
I haven't heard about it, but
it makes sense. American Army was a game made for recruiting like real soldiers for the American Army. So I guess they just thought, hey, this is what it's all about.
Let's show them how it's going to be. And,
I say jump, you say...
Yeah, how high? So it's like, get on TeamSpeak and I'm going to play Drill Sergeant.
That'd be awesome.
Everybody who's ever wanted to yell at people on TeamSpeak. So next one would be from Como1. Will it be possible to modify the amount of requested resources for your assault team?
I sense that it's the stuff we have now is purely from a simplicity point of view, that you just want to have like reinforce and that's it. It's going to cost you whatever it's going to cost to make a full reinforce. We are looking into at some point adding some more complexity to the assault teams and how they are sort of like put together. We're not completely finalized that design yet, but obviously we'll take that into consideration when we get there, so we can sort of like only reinforce some of the resources. It could also be a thing where we have this factory, the queuing stuff we have now with the limited resources. We could have we could sort of like slice it another way, that we say that if there's only 10 tanks available and you are 10 players wanting 10 tanks, then they can only get one each. So we divide it between the players.
And after that, they get removed from the game.
So they never get a full refund reinforcement. They only get like a partial if there's.
You're talking about the generals.
We could do something like that.
Or they're split evenly. But I think the question was really about if I have a motorized guard and we don't have motorcycles, can I just send them on foot? If I don't want to wait for the last motorcycles to be produced.
Yeah. Actually, we lowered that amount a lot for the Spats add-on 1.
The waiting time? For
No, the
production?
actual number of vehicles,
Ah.
the transport vehicles, personal vehicles, the jeeps and the motorcycles have been that amount have been lowered a lot. That's one of the changes that went up as well. Is together with pricing that has been significantly down adjusted once more.
Right.
So
Is that the storm we're hearing?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
It's really
Alexander.
shit weather.
it's I think it's called.
Alexander. So, but yeah. So there's less vehicles currently on live on
than
the,
you had before.
Okay. So that means if you run out, you're on foot. Basically,
No.
in the
It
action
just
game,
means that you
right?
don't need that many. So the production have been changed, but there's just
Right.
each assault team needs requests less vehicles. So it should be more available
Okay.
actually.
That kind of makes sense. The next question would be from African Dave. When a new faction arrives, how will it work if one faction has been pushed off the map?
I assume he means the action game.
I don't know actually if he's watching.
I think I would assume he means the action game. So if we have a battle with the 3 factions,
Is that actually something that's being? Oh yeah, I didn't.
and
Did we talk about that before? Yeah.
there will be first of all there'll be like a grace period before the battle starts in order to if a battle is triggered with 3 factions, obviously you want to get time to pile up before the battle actually starts. Otherwise, you would sort of like not get into the fight. If you can see that somebody else is starting up a fight, you would sort of like stay out of it. That's what we call bloodletting.
So
Obviously, yeah, that would be the time delay before going into the battle. But if one of the 3 factions gets either pushed out or beaten through the obviously if they get depleted of resources, then they'll just be kicked out of the battle.
they're talking about the
camping.
campaign map. Are we sure about that?
They don't know.
Well, the guys on their chat are certainly talking about the campaign map.
Okay, then I can explain a little bit. It's not possible to get pushed out of the campaign map.
At all?
Bung.
But if you lose all your capitals?
The winning conditions will assure that one of the other factions actually win before you lose. So you would never.
Yeah, that you mentioned. Yeah, I remember now.
So that's not possible.
So basically, as soon as the proportion of capitals
You
owned...
just say that if the good example
Yeah.
I can show is it's like if there's 21 capitals and you set the winning condition to be 10, then you would one faction will reach 10 before one of them reaches 0.
Is that...
I think it's 11 or something. You can set it to 11, but it's just a matter of setting the winning conditions, the number of required capitals low enough so it makes it impossible for one faction to actually lose all its capitals.
I'm sure they will try, though.
There's one incident that we could think of, and that would be in the opening game. If you say all 3 factions start with 1 capital each, then you could have a scenario where 2 capitals like gang up on one of them and try to kick them out.
That's what I meant by they will try.
Before they actually capture all the capitals. Just go straight for one faction. In that incident, obviously we'll just relocate, just give him another one, because at that point there will be neutral capitals. So we'll just give him one of the neutral ones.
So they would have done all this complex scheming for nothing.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's not fun otherwise. I mean,
Nope.
if one faction just disappears.
But I'd like to see them try. That's our fallback, at least for that scenario. But it's perfectly doable to try and gang up on one of the factions. You just need to be sure that the other guys actually do the same. I think it's going to be hard to strike alliances in the game, but definitely worth trying.
That there's actually Westwick saying perhaps one capital. There could be one capital that can't be taken for each faction. But
no, I don't think so. I think it should be. We should have these scenarios where the whole thing just moves around. It would be interesting to see how, if it's good generals, they could actually have the war going on for a very long time. Because right now it's always the 2 smaller ganging up on the one that's just about to win. So you could have a situation that actually changes over time. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. If one faction keeps winning, a bet is that the two other factions would start to actually work together against that one faction. But in the end, they would have to sort of like one of them have to win. So it's gonna like fundamentally change the dynamics of the strategy game.
What would be nice is if they actually moved around the map so much that they end up kind of swapping swapping places.
Yeah. That's true.
Didn't that when we went? Everybody in the office went to the Teuchungsmuseum, what's it called? Arsenal.
Yeah.
And our guide told us about this one war between Denmark and Sweden, where the king of Denmark managed to invade Sweden and took a few cities, and I think while he was there, the Swedes took Copenhagen.
Something about
so they had to switch.
Yeah,
they just traded back and said, "Well, let's pretend this never happened."
There was something about this where the in the winter where they actually just walk across the water because the whole thing froze. So, those damn Swedes! Yeah, no, Swedish guys, you have half our country. That's our country. We will take it back one day. By the way, isn't there? We have I was just thinking that maybe one of the guys here at Radio could bring me one of those nice beers from tap.
If you're watching, one of these over there.
I'm just stuck with water here. What's up with that? We're gonna have a nice Christmas dinner just in after this show. It's gonna be awesome.
So, let's see. I'm gonna let that happen and pretend it's not happening. So, Hastad Wigo is asking. Are campaign rewards planned to come anytime soon? So rewards for making use of assault teams, for winning battles, etc.
Rewards as in yes, definitely that's something that goes into the whole next iteration of the assault teams and the whole battle system. But we have some other things that we're working on right now that we want to get in place before we start piling onto this.
They're talking about haggis on the chat. It's actually fascinating. I don't think they're listening to us.
No. Haggis,
we're going to talk about Slayer.
It's a Scottish. That's the sheep thingy magic. Sheep stomach.
Yeah.
Scottish. Is that?
It's Scottish.
Isn't it?
It's not Irish. It's Scottish.
I think it's Scottish.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh, most excellent.
Fantastic.
I can see them. Robotron is bringing beer. Excellent.
And the other one was for the cameraman?
So, I guess we have to explain about the beer on tap. It's not really ours. It's we rent it.
Yeah, but we're not going to give the beer back, though.
No, we're not going to give the beer back. But it's
going to be in a sorry state, that is.
What you call a julefrokost, which roughly translated.
What the fuck is this?
Is that the? I think it's the same. I got the IPA.
It's much darker. It's something that tastes.
Is
like
it okay?
a juleøl. It's nice though. Cheers.
Cheers. Yes. Skål. We're supposed to drink after saying that. So.
Sorry. Cheers.
I mean, it's the pale ale you get. I'm pretty sure it's just at my
Is
glass.
it pale ale? Oh, I have to go easy on that shit.
Well, let me see.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Christmas brew.
No, it's not. No, because mine's whatever.
I love pale ale, but it's also.
We'll get to the bottom of this later.
I should go easy on it.
So.
We'll get to the bottom of it later.
So, next question from Alfar 100.
It's actually two questions in one.
Two questions, yeah, that's why his name is in stereo. Okay. So, will a soldier be able to deploy barbed wire? Oh, that sounds like the tripwire thing we just mentioned before.
I think was it Hagen that actually made it some sort of like a. He made at one point
defense
set up defenses
thing,
type
yeah.
system where you could actually set up some. The idea was that you could set up some barbed wire, but we didn't really get to finish it up. You can hear that we've been putting in a lot of halfway things into the game so far. So there's some of the we start working on some of it, and suddenly you just realize that this is just far too complex to get into the game. So we actually end up discarding quite a few things. Just say this was an experiment, didn't work out, or at least it was far too complicated. But
so not right now.
if no.
Not
And I was
tomorrow.
against that the next thing people would have, like they would have a wire cutter in order to get through the wire. So do I bring the wrench or the wire cutter?
Oh, decisions. Or food.
Or food, yeah.
You are hungry. So
we actually discussed the food as being a part of the strategic game.
Yeah, but not the
Food
action
is
game,
like
right?
none of it. Same as you take the oil field and you refine the oil to fuel that will drive your vehicles. Then obviously taking off one of the farms will produce wheat that you could refine into bread that fuels your men instead. So it has actually a strategic purpose.
So that would mean that what your men can only travel so far without food.
They would spend food or fuel by traveling, being alive, whatever. We haven't gotten to that point yet, but it's definitely something that's in the in the sort of idea behind the whole resource gameplay.
Let's see. We have another question by this guy,
Yes.
which is: will a paratrooper, if equipped, be able to shoot and use the pistol while parachuting?
I remember talking to our cameraman here a few days ago about this stuff, where we're just talking about the possibility of being able to shoot from when you're sitting on a vehicle, for example. If you're sitting as a passenger in the Jeep, you could be able to shoot. That would just be awesome to start looking into that stuff. And that would also be the same thing as if you're in a parachute, that you should be able to shoot from the parachute. That would be awesome to put in. Obviously, the one example we could come up with, like 8 guys all with bazookas in a Jeep, that might be a pretty dangerous combination, though. But it would be cool.
Just picturing it right now. So when you fire something like
That would
a
just be
bazooka,
like
the Jeep would also.
Super dangerous Jeep. But then again, like one hit with a high explosive round, and you just get 7 guys killed at once. So I think it'll be fun.
Let's do it. There's this question that we looked at before. Could you talk about the engine, the Retox engine? That's a question from Trent Diggy.
I could talk a lot about it. I guess we will try and see if we can persuade one of the programmers that actually knows a lot more about this stuff than I do to make a little thing on the.
Is that something we could show? Really? Is there something to show, or is it?
I can't show anything about, but I think we should make a feature on it at some point. Basically, if I have to say something about the engine, is that we built everything in. We based the art production side. It's based on Autodesk Sublimage, and then the rendering engine and basically the whole engine is proprietary. It's something we did ourselves. One of the main reasons for doing it ourselves and not just buying an engine off the shelf is that when we started out making this game, there wasn't really any engines that could do what we wanted them to do. Most engines at that time were either, I think the what's it called, the Unreal Engine, for example. It cost $1 million to just license it straight. And there's like, do we have $1 million in the bank for starting? No, so let's do our own shit. So that's actually why we decided to do it.
But you built it for HNG.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Okay.
What people tend to not know is that a huge part of the engine is the back end. The server structure, the network code, and all that stuff is highly optimized for our game, and it's not something that you just get out of other engines just like that. So it's not as easy as just renting or licensing another engine. You have to do a lot of modification to actually get it to work with your game. So and as I said, when we started up, there wasn't really anything available.
But
it might be now. I don't know. So
you might be able to talk more about it.
I think we should
like in one of the coming.
See if we can get some of the programmers on the show and to talk more about it, because they, as I said, they know a lot more details about it than I do. Maybe we could actually ask the Robotron to, if they're willing to do it, so we can collect questions that they can answer on that specific topic.
So we'll look into that. Question from Warf. Will there be different spotted markers so that tanks, jeeps, and APCs can be differentiated?
I think the in-game UI, we're really trying to have it as simple as possible. Going down that route where we start to differentiate the markers, it's a dangerous thing to start doing, because it's suddenly new players will just be met with a lot of different icons on the screen. So I wouldn't say so.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Bergziege is asking, will there ever be a spectator mode for the action game so that we can watch people play?
Well, that's also been a discussion topic in here. I think most people regard that as being cheating.
How so? Oh, because you could just call your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Unless there's a delay.
Unless it's spectating out of the other player's eyes or whatever it is.
Which would, kind of, but still.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, So the answer right now is
it's something that's I would personally like to have some spectating, because you have some waiting time when you are in the queue waiting to after you've been killed to get back into the game. And it's just nice to follow somebody around and have something to look at.
And see what's
it's not as in Counter-Strike, for example, where you have spectator mode as well. It's a bit different, because once you're dead, the game is over for you, and the only thing you can actually spend time on for the rest of the match is just watching others play. Here you actually redeploy, and that's where you can get some unfair advantage by actually knowing where your friends are, for example. It might also be great. I don't know. Maybe it's something that we need to test out.
Next question, again from King Fu Julian. Will the Russians start with the same amount of weapons, tanks, and other stuff as the other factions?
The Russians?
Yeah, I don't know why he's saying that. I guess we'll just...
I think if you the question means...
the Italians?
Then third faction, then obviously by adding another faction to the game, we should, when that time comes, at least try to fill all the main areas. But obviously all the different armies are very different. Some of the armies have, as you can see, the Americans didn't have that many heavy tanks, for example. The Russians have, or the Soviets had shitloads of tank destroyers, and the Japanese, for example, they had only light tanks or medium tanks. They didn't really have any heavy armor as such. So there's France, for example, got knocked out early in the war. So they had actually heavy tanks, but there was like really World War I-ish. So it's we would like to have the game to sort of like play into that the factions are different. We're not trying to make a game where they are evenly matched. We are trying to make a game where we have the fun, strange things with each faction that they were actually known for. That's why we have the...
I guess the meaning of the question is just like when a new faction comes, is it gonna start out with as much choice in terms of what you can unlock and all that?
It depends on how much we think is enough. I would say
because I mean it takes time to prepare and all that, right?
Yeah. We'd rather get it in and get it going rather than getting it up to the level of the other factions.
So I guess with this being said, go. And go means questions from the chat. I'm gonna actually start looking, see if anybody has been asking any interesting questions while we were talking. Um,
We're not drifting as much today as we were last Friday.
Last time we were talking about Bono and black metal.
Black metal.
Yes, and yeah, it's not as popular as it used to be.
Black metal.
No, for reasons beyond my comprehension. I think the internet killed it.
Oh, damn it.
The internet killed black metal. Discuss.
There's no more wooden churches left to burn. I guess that's what they...
that I think that is probably the stupidest part. That's like, oh, let's destroy this thing because it's kind of Christian.
Yeah.
Ish.
It's like...
It's like what? It's a
Stop
church
it.
with dragons and...
Stop it. I hope that guy that actually burned down that church had his like white and black face paint on when he was burning it. Burn down the churches. That would be a really strange sight.
But
he's
okay.
The mock shot in when he got arrested.
Okay, the questions are coming. The questions are coming. And I think some of them are actually new. If we can. Okay. Question from Sparrow Haggy. Will you implement more civilian vehicles, such as tractors, cars?
So he wants more.
Let me borrow this.
It's not planned, but they're fairly easy to do because they don't require much. It's just a civilian. There's no guns on them and stuff. So we actually put them in just to have a choice because we know that the game is there's large distances in that's why the bicycles got in as well. Apart from being just a funny thing to put in the game, but obviously one of the most annoying things about games with huge landscapes is that if you unlock it, you have to walk a lot. It's just boring. So that's why we try to put in as much alternative transportation as possible. Ding ding.
Yeah. And a question from Pitbull 1973 on the battle loading screen. The icons for the available assault teams on the minimap are stacked too close together to be for us to see what's available. Can they be separated out like they were before?
That stuff is going to change completely.
Okay.
So, so no.
Question from let's see. We have to translate this into normal language. Can you make? Okay. That's I think I know the answer, but I'm going to ask anyway. Encla is saying, can you make buttons that search for battles in both game modes? So that, like, I don't care if it's campaign or war missions. I want to join both.
We just had that.
We just removed it. Yeah,
just removed it. Well, we obviously we can, but I think we are not going to do it
because it's not helping a lot.
It's such an advanced feature. So then that would require like a third option, and I think the whole purpose of this change with the free faction choice is also to have so like we talked about the balanced part of the game where you're more into we're trying to make balanced matches, and then we have the hardcore stuff which is like the unbalanced stuff where you really have to take it as a challenge to try and win, or at least just die to delay the enemy, stuff like that, which for new players is definitely not fun, and they perceive it as being unbalanced, but it's kind of like the idea about the game is that it's real war.
So the trade-off is experienced players have to kind of go and search in two different places.
He just want to play.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But if you're experienced, you might have to kind of cancel the search and go search in the other category.
Yeah.
But that's the trade-off for not having a constant flow of noobs saying, this is not balanced. Which is
definitely. So
I mean, I'd rather not have people complaining.
We are trying. We constantly get the criticism for that the game is very complex in the interface and everything. So we would try to definitely not add more buttons to the screens. Maybe layer the stuff a bit more.
There's a question from. Let's see. No, I'm going to go to the next one. Sorry. Still looking for questions. Question from J Baker 91. Any new weapons coming in the future? Specifically British weapons?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's like,
he's seen the Sting. Obviously, the British weapons are going to be there together with the British faction, and it's not a real World War II game without the Spitfire, right?
So,
and the Bren gun, even though the Bren gun is completely shit, then we're going to put it in at some point when the British arrive.
I keep confusing the Bren gun and the Sten gun. Which one is it?
The Sten is the submachine gun.
Yeah, and the Bren gun is the LMG.
The Bren gun is the LMG with the side-mounted.
The one they have in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, I think. At some point, somebody has a Bren gun for no reason.
Yeah, it has a magazine like a
like on the top.
Yeah, and it has the sights on the side of the machine gun. Shoots kind of slow. Dun, dun, dun,
yeah, it goes. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
Looks like a bar a lot actually. A little bit.
There's a question from ex-sheriff. Don't you think to overhaul assault team icons so it becomes more obvious what they are, so we can more easily tell what they are?
Do you mean
pictures of tanks on the tank assault teams? But yours are based on actual military symbols, right?
Yeah, and to be fair, the current schema we have now has been the thought of being what you see when you zoom a little bit out on the map. The original idea was obviously when you zoom all the way in, the symbols will change to be a bunch of tanks and a bunch of men, and so you can see what it is actually. And then you would also get the connections between the different symbols at what they actually mean.
So yeah, but I guess you could.
It is something that's fairly difficult, especially for new players, and especially for players who have no knowledge about war or military terms. Anyway, they just look at this stuff and say, "What the fuck is this envelope? You got mail." But right now it's actually the best solution we have for the problem. We can see most other strategy games actually use sort of similar symbolism. So we wouldn't try and stray too far from that.
No, because it's standard.
It is standard. Even though it's not even based on World War II stuff. Some of it is, but it's in the Second World War. Those symbols were highly different between the different armies. The Germans,
were they? The
Germans had something that was completely weird with like small cars and weird stuff that was completely different.
Uh-huh.
The Allies had something that looked a lot like the stuff we have now.
Okay.
But to be fair, the stuff we have is actually based on NATO standards, which is obviously a bit younger than the time frame. But we just thought that this was a good system, and it has to work as recognizable icons more than just showing a nice image of a tank.
Question from let's see. Marcello CN. Will tanks be able to destroy small trees?
He would like to be
able to destroy small trees.
That would be awesome if we could do that. We just haven't gotten around to adding more destructive stuff into the game.
Next one would be
maybe we do a whole physics update at some point where we just like destroy everything.
I don't know how to pronounce that name. GSA Trader or Gesatradar is oh, wait a minute, that's more like him yelling at us. Okay, so I'm gonna skip that one because it's not a question, it's more like just general, like, yeah. Okay,
just like
next question.
Flame.
Yeah, flame war. All right, we'll question from the Ryan Hazard. When winter map's coming?
Actually, just like an hour ago, discussed this with the render programmer, and my personal view is obviously that I think we should try and prepare it a little bit better into how we want to add the different seasons in the game, so we can have the same maps but with different seasonal settings rather than just making a snow map and that's it. obviously a lot of different stuff comes into play when you have winter map. Then you suddenly have to have tire tracks on the terrain, rather than just making it white all over.
I think that the main issue also was, as it is right now, there's no distinction between outdoors and indoors. So it snows indoors.
Lots of different things. And I know it's we did that stuff for we've done for games before the addition of rain and snow and all that stuff, and it's not as easy as it looks, but it's definitely doable, and it's something that we should do a proper seasonal change. But it would just be nice if we could actually add it to all the maps we have. So all the maps have a fall and spring and summer and winter setting, together with the night and day cycle and all stuff. That just gives a lot of different possibilities, and does I think there's a lot in actually reusing the maps and playing them in different settings, because it actually changes the tactics quite a lot.
If it's just the time of day changes everything.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
There's a shadow somewhere you can hide, and now you can't.
Exactly, and it also plays into this, which I really like, that you get to learn the maps. So it's important that we don't have like 100 different maps. That we have fewer maps, but have them in different settings.
Yeah, because otherwise, I mean, there's a kind of the skill you gain is also from learning how you can use your environment to not
checking
die.
Out the map, finding the good spots on the map, and obviously, if there would be 100 different maps, then you would never get to know the nice places in the maps. It would take you a long time to learn, at least. This would make the game more random.
I spotted a good question from Corey, 1984. I have 30 heroes. I only want to select from 5 of them, and I don't want to scroll through them.
Okay. Get that question from the testers as well. That when they just add like 50, and it's like, we didn't know that there was any players who had that many heroes.
Okay.
Fuck. Then we might actually need to do that. Hide.
So, but it might become an issue for some people.
It's the same thing as we start to categorize stuff. Then the players who only have 1 or 2, then you will get a lot of empty menus, and so.
There's a question from the Mad Molar. Can paratroopers have a minimum chute opening height? I suspect he means that below a certain altitude, it's not going to open properly, and you just drop to the ground. So I know because I mean you can open your chute when you're like at the 5th floor of a building, and basically you open your chute and you're safe. You land and you're safe. I don't know if you can ever pull that off in the real world. Base jumping?
No. But we set still in, because we had at some point where people would jump from the roofs and they would actually deploy the. I think those numbers have been tweaked, but probably not enough then. But or does it mean that he has to, because we have the auto release?
No, I think he's really talking about could there be like a minimum? I guess he wants to shoot them out of the sky. So because when I play Paratrooper, what I do is I wait until the last second, and then
that's what you should be able to do.
Yeah.
And if you are too close to the ground.
But I think the last second is a little bit. I mean, it's hard to believe that some your fall would be.
So we should look into it if people think it's a problem. I haven't. It's the first time I hear that complaint actually.
So somebody David Verhege is saying Slayer, Rain and Blood. So I think that answers the question. Question then. They keep mentioning this one. Will we get the same? That's King Fu Julian. Will we get the same number of tank drivers as we have of light tanks and tank destroyers in the action game? They asked that last week.
What is that?
Apparently, I don't know if it's. I have never observed that, but apparently in some assault teams,
we're working on. I can say we're working on a rework of the whole. Spawn slots
That's
versus
true.
resource and everything. So it's going to be it's this stepping stone towards our new squad system that's going to be in at a certain point. So we're changing the whole basics of that. So
but I think he's saying that you have some assault teams where you have one more slot for a tanker, but there's no tank available for him
Yeah,
to spawn.
I know that stuff is.
Because I've never really been in that situation where you
I've not.
so I'm not even sure it's. Anyway, we'll look into that. And let me see. There's a lot of question. There's a lot of it about. It's about when.
When will you?
Oh,
when will you?
Osorio Cesar is asking, when will toggle crouch be added?
Is that? I think that was on the add-on too.
Add-on 2.
Isn't it confirmed that it's on the add-on
That's the right
2?
answer.
So.
Question from. Wait, let me see. Because a lot of it is. Thunderous 71 is asking, is an AFK auto kick ever going to be implemented for the action game, so that when you're away from keyboard too long, you get kicked out of the game?
It's kind of controversial.
Because the problem with that is that you can have a bot that just makes your character move a little bit, and
yeah, it's easy. Yeah, that's true. It's easy to get around that.
But then if you have a bot, you're probably also gonna get caught with that. By the
A bot could be something that just you just put your mouse next to your or just
your cat.
Put your mouse next to your vibrator, and then you make sure that it always moves.
So, I think wait. Oh, yeah, no, that's add-on 2. Yeah, just a confirmation from Jesper.
Yeah.
I'm told there's 5 minutes left. We're gonna squeeze in a few more questions.
Yeah,
no? Right?
Just we're not in a hurry today, but we do need to get that full
beer.
stars of beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally emptied.
Yeah. Question from Enclar again. Would we get a small amount of experience for just hitting a plane in a dogfight?
You do?
Do you?
Yeah.
You already do?
Yeah.
Does it show up?
You always get XP from damaging.
But you get a message for it.
I think Tobias just he bundles the XPs until there's enough to show it. Otherwise, you
would get like little 1 XP, 1 XP, 1 XP all the time.
So he actually sort of like bundles the messages.
Okay.
I actually got another question from Robotron just before on mail, where some guy was asking if he would ever get different XP from killing different classes of tanks, and he actually does. So it's if he doesn't, then that's sounds weird. But I just looked through the numbers again, and we do differentiate between the different classes of tanks. Obviously, the XP is combined with the weapon as well. So killing with the bazooka might not be. He might not notice that it gives that much of a difference. I don't know, but it's still. I think it looked at the numbers. It looked like you get like 3 times as much XP for the heavy tank as you do for the light tank.
Let me see.
Which reminds me that I actually have to say a little bit about the changing of the prices in Sparta add-on 1. We actually lowered. We skewed the numbers a bit on some of especially on the medium and heavy tanks. The light ones are fairly cheap. The medium ones are more expensive than the light ones, but the heavy is not. It's not that much more expensive than the medium ones, just to get people into using the medium and the heavy tanks more, because they are a lot better to actually use. And we want to get into the point where it actually makes sense for the commanders to take a little bit more risk on the financials by increasing their chances of actually winning, and they will obviously having a bigger chance of winning if they use the medium or the heavy tanks rather than just throwing light armor into the battle. So, but the numbers so far have just been like way out of line. So, take a look at it again and let us know if you still think it's not in place.
So. That would be in the end a yes. There should be, right?
Yes, it's
When you say look at it again.
Yeah. Look at the take a look at the. We got a lot of feedback on the campaign game, on the pricing and everything. So check it out and see if you think it's better. Obviously, when stuff gets cheaper, then you don't earn as much
reward for
so you would expect that your guards team doesn't really earn that as much XP or like war funds as they used to do, because the more expensive assault teams have now been lowered in price, which means that you don't earn as much. But I think we might just have put the differences too big, so difference has been narrowed down now. So let's see how it works.
I think we got a new question here that Jesper spotted for me. Ryman B23, thoughts on showing the distance of a player to the distance to the player of a kill over 200 meters away or something. So that basically you can see if you can see how far you shot.
So you can take 4 steps backwards and get into the good long range killing zone.
Like
well, I can say that it's that's where I think we should try and stay in the fantasy of Second World War. I don't want the game to be too much of modern warfare.
Yeah.
Where you get all sorts of laser stuff on top of the screen and rangefinders and all sorts of shit, GPS and stuff. It has to be somewhat analog. So. Yeah. The binoculars, obviously, as our animator, camera guy over here is pointing out, that could be something to do, putting in a rangefinder or like at least some of those classic markers of ranges you have in normal scopes into the binoculars would help players determine if a certain player is how far he is away.
So, binoculars.
Maybe in the binoculars, but definitely not a laser rangefinder.
Right. I guess we'll wrap it up. We wanted to show the link to that contest that is still going on until next Friday. Is it Friday? No, it's not even next Friday. It's next Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. The Battle Vision contest. Yes, select everything.
This mouse is just this. What is it? Ghost.
Throw it out the window. Battle Vision. It's a screenshot contest. If you can get an interesting, heroic, epic screenshot featuring a bicycle, that's the theme. You can contact. All the details are in there on Steam. You can look for Battle Vision, and that's a contest where you could win 2,000 gold. If you send one of the best screenshots, this is going on until the 17th. To recap, today we talked about the new add-on build that just got deployed to the servers, and we took more questions than usual, and we are now headed to our Christmas lunch. You can basically rewatch this episode on Twitch, and we'll upload it to YouTube. And you can also follow us on Twitch. We'll see you again next week, I think. I'm looking at this guy behind the camera right now. Is it next week is confirmed?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that it's not gonna.
You're gonna be there.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do that next week.
We are running into some Christmas holidays at some point. So we might get a bit bumpy.
Yeah, we'll have reruns.
Or do a especially unprepared Christmas special.
So, have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.
See you next week.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for playing.
Yes. Let's do that. Let's play.